Flat Earth Friday, and we are live. How are you doing this evening, brother?
I'm good. I'm excited tonight. It's not only is it flat Earth, but it's virtual reality Friday. Okay, where you
VR,
get your reality checked,
VR Friday, absolutely. So,
right?
yeah, tell us, brother, what's in store for us tonight?
Yeah, so we're gonna look at some things that maybe your regular azimuthal equidistant map believer pressurized pizza domer won't really do. We'll show you some of the reasons why the creation that we're living in does seem to be created in such a way that you could try to fool people into thinking that it was spherical. So we're going to be looking at reasons why that might have been and the reasons why we're saying that. And we're going to take a look at some other things, including, how we can show you that you're in a virtual reality, right? Through things like ray tracing and so much more. What's on your mind? What are you thinking about?
Yeah, there's so many topics that we could cover, but like you were saying, um, there's three models of reality, right? So you've got heliocentrism. Nobody promotes geocentrism anymore. That was 1600s. Now, mid 1800s, you got the heliocentrism worldview. And starting like around 2014, you got the pressurized pizza dome version of reality. And then like 2017, we came out and showed everybody it's a virtual reality. So three models of reality. And so a lot of the things, the explanations for what's taking place as far as pressure is concerned. You got the heliocentric version of pressure where they're saying that we have gas pressure on Earth against a vacuum in space with no container. And you get the pressurized pizza dome version where it's inside a container, but then you wouldn't be able to have varying pressures. And then you've got the virtual reality explanation that has a gradient that goes from high pressure below sea level up to no pressure at 250,000 feet. So in each one of these explanations for reality, you've got the the heliocentric version. Keep in mind, all of this is atomistic. They all believe that everything is made up of tiny spinning balls, and then they gather together to make bigger spinning balls. And so we're virtual reality guys, where we say that's all nonsense. It's never been proven. It's a non-reality. We see that everything pixelates out on the micro and the macro. So we can zoom in, 125x to something that's small. We can zoom in 125x to something that is bigger, and that's like a P1000. So we're going to be looking at the observable, testable, repeatable evidence. We're not going by hearsay. We The 24-hour circling sun. We were against it for a long time because we couldn't find any real proof of it. But now there's some footage that's come out that actually does look real. So we're on board with it. That is what the virtual reality predicts. That's what's expected, and we just keep moving where the truth takes us. So, we're not married to any model. We just support the one that stands up with all the evidence, right?
Yeah, well, whatever it is that we can actually show and give evidence for. Like you'll be able to see shadows with chemtrails. You can you can figure out exactly where the sun's position is when you follow the shadow, right? It's like an arrow pointing towards the position of the sun. Not only that, but there's clouds behind the sun and the moon. You can talk about the fact that everything seems to be equidistantly stuck to the observer, and it's all happening and circling. So we've got the flat plane of the reality, the floor, and it has topography. It goes up and down to the top of Everest and to the bottom of the Marianas Trench. Then we have our sky above, and that's it, right? We have this reality that we live in, and we're going to show you the reasons why we don't think that we're in a atomistic physical reality, that we're in a supernatural one, right? Where it's limitless, really. But there is codes. Everything was created through coding. It's all intelligently designed, and we can show you the evidence for it. It's pretty simple. We've been doing this for over 7 years. And I'm just excited to be here. We've got so much to get into. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Please leave a comment below. Let us know what you think. Show the world that you're not afraid to stand up for the truth here publicly with us.
Yeah. So there is a breakthrough point where if we just keep showing people this stuff and they eventually look into it, what you're going to see is the localized lighting. And so there's a lot of fake flat earthers that will admit that the sun, moon, the stars, they're local, right? They're not 93 million miles away. But what they won't admit is that they're local to each person's circle of sight. And so the actual distance of a person's circle of sight, we've seen the record came in at 125 miles that you were able to see Mount Everest from another location. So if it's seen within our circle of sight, it's within that distance, everybody. If you can zoom into it with a P1000, that it's within 125 miles from you, and that includes the luminaries. If they were outside of our circle of sight, you wouldn't see them, but we do see them. So we're going to continue to show people that the angle that the sunlight is projecting. Ronnie's got some footage that he took. You can clearly see that the shadow is being cast up on the bottom sides of clouds. So these are called contrail shadows. This is an absolute proof of a person's localized circle of sight. And once a person sees that, all right, yeah, the sun is actually below the clouds as the sun rises from Earth, and it goes through the cloud layer out at the horizon. If there's clouds there, goes up and over above. You're never going to actually be able to go over the sun. It's always going to rotate around the observer, having an apex, above the observer's head. But then when it comes back down to the horizon, it goes through that cloud layer again, if it's present, and then it underlights those clouds out at the horizon, and the sun sets back into Earth in a person's circle of sight, which is, we know, 125 miles or less. Right?
So I'm going to continue to take it back to Enoch. Okay, Enoch talked about it. He showed us the spots where the sun rose and where the sun set, and basically said that everything in the heavens has a revolution. It has a cycle about it, and it cycles around the observer. It was rotating around Enoch, and he wrote down where the sun rose and where the sun set, where the moon rose and where the moon set. And he put it into 6 gates, and we can show you how the modern day Andrew Marsh modeling program that's built on a flat plane models the 6 gates. So all we want people to understand is that the heavens are a circular supernatural luminary system, basically like a light system that was built to rotate around each one of us. Now there's a beautiful picture, almost like a piano player, that's happening up there. But to tune into that, you have to do a lot of work. You have to do a lot of research. But what we can assure everybody tuning in is that everything in this place is super, super intelligently designed. I'm excited to get into this. We've got lots of stuff. I know Jason's going to have a little bit of modeling. We're going to show you guys some of the things that we just really want to share. I'm hoping that you can share this podcast with anybody that that might think they live on a ball Earth, or that they might think that they live on an AE map pressurized pizza dome flying through outer space model. We could show you that the Freemasons are on both sides of those. It's a false dilemma where they give you both wrong answers, and that you live in a supernatural virtual reality. It starts to explain things, how the Creator sent his son, the Christ, who was able to do supernatural things, and the supernatural things are still available to us. We just have to have more faith in understanding the virtual reality that we're in. So that's what we're trying to do. We've set out a monumental monstrosity of a task, something that's beyond super magnanimous, gigantinormous, to try to get people to understand that their reality isn't physical. It's not a hard and shell thing. What we're in is a virtual reality, and we're experiencing it here, our souls, our eternal souls. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. That's my rant.
Yeah, and we do have some more breakthrough where big social media influencers are continuing to talk about Earth being a virtual reality. The people that are part of the Freemason cult, they get to be popular and talk about it. We have fake flat earthers that will continually refer to the matrix of Earth, and they'll refer to NPCs, and they'll refer to it being virtual and simulated in so many different ways, and then they'll say, no, we're in a pressurized pizza dome, and Ronnie and Jason are just a couple of idiot Christians. They're crazy, right? So there is breakthrough on this topic. It's no longer so hard for people to comprehend. People are starting to get and understand that, well, we've got the examples of virtual reality tech. You know, Apple's coming out with their AR glasses. And so what we continue to let everybody know is that there are 5 senses that the human body picks up: the sight, the hearing, the sound. Sound and hearing are the same. Taste, smell, and touch. So we've got these ways to experience the world. All right. Virtually, it's the same thing. We're not saying that you are fake. We're not saying that your life is inconsequential. We're saying that everything that you experience, you absolutely experience. You feel pain if you smash your finger in a car door or something. It's excruciating. All these things are true. They've happened. Everything is real except for the explanation of materiality, the world that we're in. It didn't come from a big bang. It's not made up of tiny little balls that have coalesced and gathered together into bigger balls, right? It's a virtual reality, and we can prove it from things within our circle of sight.
And that's what we set out to do. The huge, difficult task, just to have people question the nature of their reality. And we know most people are going to be reality deniers, and that's fine. But what we hope that you do is you're able to look at these ideas and look at the evidence unbiasedly for a few hours with us. And that's all we can ask.
Well, that's great. Unless if there's anything else, brother, you say we get into it?
Let's go.
Let's go. We are taking it back, way back. This goes back to our very first podcast together, brother.
Wow. I know what you got on the screen. I remember that OBS modeling program.
You did it. Yeah, this is something that you made right off the bat. I'm gonna show everybody here this. This is Beyond Flat Earth. This was streamed January 18th, 2017. This was our first podcast we did live together.
Uh, I don't think this was on a separate channel. We did the live stream interview thing where I was like, "Welcome to the flat Earth. This guy died. This guy got this, that. He's getting killed, or whatever."
Well, I think this is the
Remember?
first Beyond Flat Earth one, though, right?
Beyond flat Earth. That's right. Where we got into the whole, everything that's on the screen.
Yeah. So I am just going to keep telling everybody, if you want to be talking about the latest, greatest breaking truths in the world, you got to be in the Reality Check group on Telegram. So there's the regular Reality Check, which is a broadcast thing, and then there's Reality Check chat, where we can talk about the things that are being shared as well. And so a lot of this content now is coming about as a result of the Reality Check chat, where people are asking questions. Somebody brought this up, and their question is why are we using a map and wrapping it to a globe if we're on a flat Earth? You wanna start this topic, brother?
Well, basically, it was posed to me that if someone could show a flat map of reality and it represented what we could observe, that no one in the right mind could ever debate against the Earth being a sphere again. So we set out to understand, how could they be faking that we live on a ball and that we actually live on a sphere? They said, how could we actually live on a flat plane? And so we set out to find the evidence, and we ventured off into stereographic projections, how to get a 3-dimensional object to project on a 2-dimensional surface. And it was a screenshot of this image you see, but it was cropped and it wasn't colored in, and it was crooked, and it came from the Globebusters crew. Cammie Nodell was discussing her new flat Earth map. What she was doing was trying to place the continents down on top of what you're looking at. Here is a celestial navigation coordinate system.
Yep, it's got the coordinates on here. And you'll notice, everyone, that this is a 2-pole map as well, just like the one that we're sharing. So stereographic has 2 poles, and this one is also split, where the second pole is split onto both sides.
It's a sinusoidal wave that it forms, which is the ecliptic path. You get red to red, which are your tropics, Capricorn and Cancer. The green is delineated the equator. And you get the prime meridian is your latitude, like a ladder, your lines going up. And your longitude are the long lines that go down from the north to the south. And you can see it's perfectly represented. So this map actually overlays on top of our map. And what you've now done is created a circle of the heavens and represented it on a perfect 2-dimensional flat plane.
All right, so we'll take that down and we'll chew it apart. Because we've been covering this for 7 years. We know and understand all that. We're going to try to make this knowable and understandable for somebody hearing it the first time right now. So just want everybody to understand that this is a 2D, we're going to call it an image. It's not necessarily a map, because it's a coordinate system. This does not map out at 1-to-1 scale. Right, that's where a person needs to start understanding that a map technically should have a scale to it. 1-to-1 scaling would be ideal, but then the map would be the same size as the whole Earth. So you scale it down to make it something smaller to be able to fit on a page or something. So scaled 1-to-1, you would use a graphic that is in the legend that would show you the scale, and then you'd be able to use that scale and see how far everything is away from each other. So with a stereographic coordinate system like this, you can see that we have different size spaces between these lines here, but each one of these lines are representing 15 degrees of either latitude or longitude. So even though each one of these coordinates, one of these areas is in varying size, if you use the latitude and longitude of whatever place it is you want to go from this place to that place, because 1 degree of let's call it celestial rotation, 1 degree equals 60 nautical miles. And so this can be used to calculate distance even though it's not equidistant. And we're going to be showing the AE map in different ways. And so yes, the AE map is also a coordinate system, but it's really distorted because the South Pole is the outside ring, right?
Yeah, so what they do is they take the sphere that we have it back projected. So the best source, the truest of information you're always going to get is the original copy, the clearest resolution. It always starts off the best. It doesn't improve. So first they have to take the Earth, which is flat, turn it into a sphere. And then what they do to create the fake pressurized pizza dome, AE map and model, Gleason's, all of them, is they then have to stretch the south celestial part of the map, or the south celestial pole. They have to stretch it out to infinity and then skew all the other different continents, the 7 continents. They have to skew them out depending on their longitude. The further south you are, the more it gets stretched out. But still, because if you measure from the line that you're looking at, the lines of latitude and longitude here, even though it's largely stretched out, like you can see the map here, how you see how the red, Jason can highlight along the bottom. See all that red is completely showing the bottom. When this is projected to the sphere, look, you get the complete perfect concentric circles.
Croquet ball style right here.
So we can represent reality in many different ways when we talk about how we use scales. Okay? But the truth of it is that you have to align what you can physically and measurably observe repeatedly. Then you have to look at what matches that. In this ethereal or online, we're in like a heavenly virtual reality. We're looking at things on a screen, and the best way to project it is this. There's no more simple way to show you basically how the entire sky is mapped.
All right, so to compare the virtual reality to the heliocentric model, the reason why we're showing this, represented as a globe right here, is this is the way they were able to fake it. If a person was a glober that wanted to travel and navigate, everybody's heard that you can't represent a globe correctly on a flat map. How many times have we all been told that and heard that? But if we were on a globe, this is the map that you would use, right? Stereographic, because that's right. This is that.
So what we're looking at here is a celestial coordinate system that you overlay over a snapshot of the sky at any given day. And you can measure, you have the celestial center right there marked 0. If you see there's a line with the green, it's to your left. So this is a coordinate system. Now, the map that Jason's talking about is the one that we call the map of the elect, which is actually the oblique Hotine stereographic projection. But what that is, again, is the cartography community got together, and they say through satellites, they were able to take video footage of the Earth in ribbons, and they stitched it together, and they said they took the distortions of what could be on the map. They made it to the least amount of recognizable areas, mostly out in the oceans. They said were the only distortions in the projection. Jason and I didn't make the map. We just showed what the best mankind had come up with when relating to the drawing of the most accurate flat representation, because we live on a flat plane, everybody. That's 70% water, and water absolutely at rest levels out. We build buildings and they are super flat. Like you can get down with your eye along a flat concrete floor. You can use a lot of men use water levels to build things. So, I mean,
it's the most accurate way, right?
And so when you come to that conclusion, okay, so what we got on the screen here is the sky, and it's the macro view. It's not real. Okay, I want everyone to understand the ball on the right is a closer representation of the sky. Now, Enoch said that the heavens were different than the earth plane. He said the heavens had a revolving nature about them and a cycle. So it's around each person, we all have our own sphere of luminaries rotating. When they rise, and the angle of the croquet ball that's on the left is dictated on where you are on the map. It never, I want to repeat, can we go back to the croquet ball?
Mm-hmm.
Just for 1 second before you move on. This is a key point. I want everybody to take a mental note here. At no point will you see this ball here flip upside down. Never. It rocks from the left to the right. From the left to the right. Nowhere in creation, in reality, has anything ever been flipped upside down in relation to understanding how anything could be created or modeled. So that is the huge...
Back in the day, they called it the antipodal or poidal position, right?
Yeah, that's right. Antipodal. And they also had a bunch of other things too when dealing with the fact that every observer, everything in creation there at the center of it was a huge thing. They had to stricken that from all the teachings. But I really want people, again, I'm going to say it one more time before we move on. When we tell you that there's a path that arcs across your sky, and then depending on your angle on the map is what the angle will be to that arc where the ecliptic path goes over you. It's the ribbons, the green, the yellow, and the red on the screen here. Just angles. It never goes upside down. Ever, okay? Never. And the heavens circle around us. And you have to have a flat plane on the left to have the spherical heaven. Again, reality, we see the arc. No one has ever gotten a picture of this full entire map.
No, and we're 125 miles is the record. 125 miles. And it is flat. So back in the day when they first started flying across the oceans, or sailing ships across the oceans, they didn't do it with a globe. Right? So like they say, you know, you can't have a accurate map of a globe. Well, here you can. Yes, they never tell you about the stereographic model, and the pilot, the navigator, they didn't have a globe in the cockpit that they were drawing a line around the globe and using a globe to navigate.
And a string, right there. Could you bring up the Telegram group with the map that you flipped upright, clipped a bit together? It's not like you didn't put a little work in to keep it correctly orientated. But what you're saying is that was Flat Earth Math Charles who joined us, and he was the first one to concede. So if you're tuning in right now and you think you live on a ball, if you're Red's Rhetoric, or who are these guys that fight for the ball Earth now? I don't even know the shills that go on Jeranism's channel. They're doing those debates. It seems pretty ridiculous. But if you're a ball earther, I got news for you. If you don't know already, the map that Jason and I are showing you is the map that the ball earthers have to use.
Mm-hmm.
That is the highest quality representation of a sphere. Oh, was it further up? I don't know. You had it.
Let's go ahead and bring up a video that we know has got it in it. And that is this one.
Gates.
There's your Enoch Gates.
So here's what they had back in the day, right? 1894. So
they were able to understand it then. And this is when they were all sailing. Everybody was going out and sailing around. Now you can see how it gets distorted on the prime meridian line, the straight line.
Mm-hmm.
This is the path that Jason and I want to explore, traveling south from the south of South Africa and coming out north. That's what we need to see. And someone else brought up too the 24-hour circling suns. We're going to get to that. I need a witness to go to a place 68 degrees north or south and film it for me that I know, because I still, the CGI is good, but we have seen some pretty compelling evidence that there is circling sun. But continue, please.
So if you look at the shape of these latitude and longitude lines, you can see here that Africa has a wider tip at the bottom because this coordinate system, the graphing that they used, is a little bit bigger than the one that got updated to.
The one that they say had the least amount of distortions.
Yeah, so
measuring to the coordinates.
And you can see here up in Alaska and in the eastern part of Russia over here that yes, these do look bigger right here, but from this point to this point, it's still just this latitude to this longitude. Everything
matches the ones on the smaller side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if people understand, but we'll continue to try to let people know that the scaling matters, right? That's a huge thing when understanding the map, because really, what we're showing you is the macro conceptualization. We only see 3 miles around us.
Mm-hmm.
And the largest is 125 miles, and that's seeing the peak of Everest from Kathmandu.
All right, so the theme of tonight is going to be how the virtual reality was created in a way where the psyop of the globe, of heliocentrism, that everything came from a big bang, that there is no creator, that such a lie could exist. Earth was created in a way where having the two poles, we're going to keep showing everybody the way the sun rotates in both the north and the south. As I drag this slider here, this is what Ronnie was saying about how the sky, there is no underside.
Not upside down.
There's
not flip it over, everybody. Pay attention. Open our eyes here. Let's just logically look at this. The sky, the sun is not flipping under the earth. Okay. It's just wobbling back and forth. And that's the way that it was prophesied. That's the way that the scriptures say that it was created to do.
All right. So this has got the sun. And if you want to see what everything else is doing, you get stuck with a first person's perspective that
we're inside the dome now. We're not the dome. We're inside the circle of the sphere of the heavens. This is our more realistic observation points. You can go out and actually watch and film, if you're stationary, the stars doing this around you. We're going to have to do a little bit more of that, a little bit more photography, I hope.
Yeah, so I'll just show people, we're roughly in the Texas region right here. Now, if I start changing my latitude, I come down here towards the equator, look at how this is evened out. Now my Polaris is just below the horizon, and this empty spot down here called Sigma Octans is now coming above the horizon. Now you're going to start seeing the Southern Cross rotating around this polar point down right here. So this is the way the stars rotate near the equator. And then if we go farther south, you're going to see this rotate up, right? The southern polar rotation just gets higher in the sky, just like if we were up north.
That's it, everybody. The heavens, they circled around each and every one of us, right? There's not a macro where it's like 10,000 miles away from you, this whole big circle spinning. The higher you go, the larger of circle of sight you have. That's it. That's the only difference. And it follows you. It just, one tilts, the sky tilts one way. You go the other direction, the sky tilts the other way. That's it, over a flat plane.
Yeah, so here was this morning. They say no shadow, right?
That's it. No shadow. So in early spring, says the, whatever.
The groundhog.
Groundhog, right?
Yeah, so this is our circle of sight, everybody. The distance that you see to the horizon. If you can see 10 miles, great. If you can see 20 miles, fantastic. If you can see 30 miles, you're in a special place. Because it becomes difficult to start seeing things that are 30 miles away. They have to be tall enough. They have to be big enough. And
yeah, we go to the distance of the horizon and you can start to really understand how and why that is. So basically, Virtual reality shows you the distance to the horizon. And the heliocentric model, the satanic approach, is to fool you into thinking you're seeing something else.
All right, so I got that tab right here, distance to the horizon. Let's talk about a boat quick. So a sailboat sailing away, you're out at the coast, you're at the edge of an ocean, and a 30-foot tall sailboat starts sailing away from you. Well, if your eyes are 6 feet above the water, then the distance to the horizon is 3 miles away. Now you've got a 30-foot tall boat, so now we're at 42 total feet because your eyes are 6 feet above the ground. You've got the 30 feet. All right, so distance to the horizon now 7.9 miles. So just before 8 miles, this 30-foot tall boat, or let's go 36 feet here, 7.4 miles. That 30-foot tall boat is now disappearing at 7.4 miles from you. Now, that is not curvature, because all you have to do is get on a step ladder now. Let's add another 6 feet. So we're at 42 feet. And yeah, now the sailboat's not going to disappear until 7.9 miles. If you got on a taller ladder, you're going to see that the sailboat's still in front of the horizon until it goes beyond the horizon at whatever distance that is, right? Go up to 50 feet. Now all of a sudden, it's disappearing at 8.7 miles. These are the laws of perspective, the distance to the horizon.
That's the way that our vision and the reality was set, coded. That's the way that it was created. And so what the satanic heliocentrist approach was to tell you that that's the beginning point of the curve, right? And then they continue that on with moving it into always pushing the goalpost further and further away, because you then say, well, how come we can't measure the curvature even when we go up, miles into the sky? There is no curvature that's discernible. You can't see it. Well, you got to go hundreds of thousands of feet, they say. They're constantly pushing the goalpost when we can clearly show you there's no right to left curvature ever either. No one ever talks about that. They always talk about your straightforward curvature. It's like as if we would live on a paper towel roll.
Exactly. So, and another thing that we showed people is that there is a nice, easy formula that you can use for figuring this out. You don't have to have the website. So let's say we got the observer 5 feet above the water, 30-foot tall sailboat. It's 35 feet. It's going to be disappearing at 7.2 miles. I'm going to show you here that you just take your
height.
Your height here. So 35, and you're going to do the square root of that. You use this symbol. Then you're going to multiply that times 1.23.
1.23 is easy to remember. 1.23, as if you're counting 1, 2, 3. Let's have a see what we can.
7.27. So 7.2. All they did was round off. All right. So
Very
that
accurate.
This formula, I'll just show everybody. If we go 100 feet tall object moving away from you is going to disappear at the horizon if everything's flat and level at 12.3 miles away. So this is real simple. 100 square root times 1.23, and it's dead on, right? So the formula for, it's not curvature. The formula for the way things disappear in your circle of sight is that it disappears at the rate of square root times 1.23.
That's it. That's your vanishing point, everybody. That's where you start to see less and less of the boat until whatever the tallest up part of the boat is, because it'll have the largest circle of sight that it can be seen from, until that crosses that vanishing line. And it's easily measurable. Nothing is shrinking and getting smaller and traveling off into the distance. All the fake setup flat earth arguments that were created were all against just the simple fact that the distance to the horizon calculator is how they back engineered the supposed curvature of the earth.
And we've shown, I think it was our last hangout, that from 80,000 feet, that looking down with a wide angle lens, you still only saw just a little over 60 miles.
We need everyone. I want to repeat that again. This is another one of those mental notes that we all need to make. Being the highest that you can be. We can't even fly that high. Nothing is good enough. The pressure, there's not enough pressure. It gets ripped outwards. The highest we can go, you can only see a size of the Earth that's 60 miles wide, barely discernible. To make a map, listen, I tried to explain the map that we have. They flew over the Earth in stripes, they said, and took the pictures of the Earth and then stitched it together to form the map that we're using.
Yeah, so 80,000 feet, you do get a maximum distance to the horizon of 300 and almost 47 miles here, but as we showed, you can see about 60 miles of it.
It's all pixelated. It's all just blurred out. Like we keep saying, when you drill in a microscope, everything becomes fuzzy. It pixels out. When you drill out, when you go up high, we're showing the evidence again that it just pixelates out. That's exactly what you would expect. Yeah, I'll tell them. The producers say in a virtual reality.
All right, so those distances, everybody, once again, in our circle of sight. I don't want that. I want... Here, let's use one of the backgrounds. Right now I've got it on water, so nothing's in the way, but let's make this look a little bit more...
Babylonian? What?
That's not what I want. I want landscape. There we go. So... Here's some... Where's a regular background?
Trees? Whoa, what is that? I've never seen that. You're messing it all up.
Here we go.
Nice flowers.
All right, this is a real typical circle of sight right here, right?
Yeah, that's what we can see standing out in a field. Absolutely.
Yeah, so you can see here, you don't see 3 miles to the horizon.
This is the great emperor of heaven.
Yeah.
Chief judge. Absolutely.
Unless if you're up on top of this building and you can see above all these trees that are around here.
That's a really small vanishing point or circle of sight to the trees.
Yeah, but this is still a nice big field where...
It's not bad.
Right, this is the way the luminaries are going to rotate in a circle of sight.
And the higher up that sun gets in your sky, the longer the day and the hotter the place that you're at. The lower on the horizon the sun is, the shorter of the day and the colder it is, whether it be summer or winter. And that's it.
So this is circle of sight, the way all the luminaries are rotating around you. Right?
Every one of us. And every camera and every device that records and every animal and every flower and everything that's ever been created. It all rotates around each and everything that was ever created.
Yeah, from your specific latitude and longitude. And no two eyes, no two, vantage points can be lined up exactly. So nobody sees the exact same luminaries. Each observer sees.
That's what it said. James had come to the understanding in the book of Thomas that the creation was actually coming to creation for him. And he was praised for it. And I say praise to everyone else that realizes that each and every one of us are children of the creation and we came from the light. And this is just the truth that we show. You can see how, look at, I want everybody to understand. Do you see how that the sky is perpendicular? So you have a plumb line, which is something that goes up vertical off the face of the earth. And then you have something that's parallel to the horizon, which would be, how they would shoot a fake missile and it would hug the earth. I want everyone to understand that the sky is being rendered to us vertically like this. And it's a key thing to pay attention to.
One thing I can turn on here is... Let's put on the ecliptic.
Pictures.
Let's put on
Not
the...
looking the right. I can already tell you're not looking the right way for the ecliptic, but you can put it on. I see an Orion there. What else do we got? Let's see where. There's the ecliptic path.
All right, so now as we run this,
I think you got the asteroids turned on.
I don't know what that is.
Gigantinormous, the Holy Spirit is upon us. To
Right, but this is
Ned for catching birds, clouds and rains. No, so this is how it circles around each and every one of us. And
luminaries.
the wobble. Look at that wobble. So the precession or the wobble of the ecliptic path to me is like the breath of creation.
Yeah, it does a big wobble.
It's like a woof, woof each day, right?
So let's take a look at this another way, where we can see that this sun right here is right in this person's circle of sight.
It's right there.
And that is the contrail. So let's go to, all right, you recorded this the other day.
That was it, live.
Why don't you walk us through this a little bit?
Video shows.
So here we were.
Here comes the sunrise. Look at these chemtrail shadows. They're above it.
So pause it. Let's go back a second here. So back to about there, a little bit more. So what I looked out the window and saw was clearly, you see that, I guess one could say one's a chemtrail if it stays longer, and the contrail is one that dissipates quicker. The debate is out there on all this stuff. We've been able to pray the trails and planes straight out of the sky, so that debate is still open. But what I'm explaining to you is that the sun literally just rose out of the ground exactly the way it would on the Andrew Marsh program, where it came up from under the earth, exactly the way Enoch wrote about it, like this. Come up from under the earth. Let's see. Boom. You see how it comes up out of the ground? So as it came up out of the ground, there was the contrail, chemtrail, sky trail thing, and the shadow was cast upwards onto this circle of the ecliptic plane here that you can see. So let's go back to the footage. For these types of shadows to be going directly up into the sky above the contrail, it demolishes the idea that the sun is above where those planes are taking off from the Austin airport. Those are coming from towards the Austin airport. So can you explain to the people, for the shadow to be pointing up and back like that, straight up into the sky, means that the sun is below. It's below the path of where the plane took off.
Yep, sun is below this. It is casting the shadow up. And so this was, Ronnie captured this, but contrail shadows are something that are seen all the time, right?
It's repeatable, observable evidence of your virtual reality. Because again, so everything works in accordance to each observer. So you have these anomalies where you have clouds behind the sun and the moon. You have chemtrail shadows being projected upwards into the sky. And again, we're showing you physical, observable evidence that you're not seeing a sun that's 3,000 miles up in the pressurized pizza dome, and you're not seeing a sun that's 92 million miles away. It's impossible for the shadows to be pointed upwards, because if the sun we were circling around the sun, curving as we were spinning, that the shadows would be projected long and far off into the sky. They would never have an anti-position pointed to the ground. This is only possible in a virtual reality model.
Yeah, let me bring up the SketchUp, and I'll just, oh no. There we go. Come on, load up.
Yeah, it's a bit slow.
Well, I had to reboot before we went live, so.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We're breaking this. All right, so what Ronnie is talking about is if we're on a globe and we're watching for, the Terminator line where the Earth is rotating and the sun's going to be, real low to the horizon and supposedly be able to get underneath the edge of these clouds here. If you were to drill down here and see that light going through sideways, if there was a contrail up there, there's no way.
Scale here. If you're on a plane, what's Jason showing? That grayed out area, the darker area, the plane is not even going anywhere near that high.
And so just if the light's shining through here sideways, it can't be casting it from like the ground level up onto the bottom of these clouds.
No. Unfortunately, it would be casting the shadow along the parallel curvature of the sphere. Right? It would be going along with the direction pointing away from the sunrise, but that's not what we see. And here, when we zoom in again, I want everybody to clearly see. Do you see the lines that Jason has here? Do you see how they're tilted? Do you see how there's curvature in all directions when we look at this? And when you rise above the sphere, what happens? Jason, take off. Watch what happens. Do you see how everything falls away? It doesn't continue to rise up with us in altitude. These are things that people just need to understand. There's no evidence of a sphere. In reality, no one has ever shown us buildings leaning away, things upside down. No one has ever proven that it rains upside down, nor has anyone proven that things that are larger than other things, like a mountain, should attract rocks to it in this heliocentric satanic reality. But we're just showing you the straight reasons why it's not real.
Yeah, so in heliocentrism, there is no position that you can get in where the sun would be able to be shining up on the clouds like is seen in this type of footage. And let's keep looking at the stuff that even Google provides. This one, look at where does the sun have to be in order to be projecting this X back up onto these clouds like this. All right. Well, it says right here, the morning sun was just behind and to the left of the darkened roof of the house. It's obvious. You can see that the sun would have to be here to cast the shadow like that. Underneath these clouds. Has to be underneath these clouds.
Has to be. Underneath where the planes flew. The sun is lower than where the planes are flying.
So I want to show you, this is like what they try to say the explanation is here. They say that the contrail is actually above the Sirius layer of clouds here, and that the sun is out here casting the shadow down onto the tops of the clouds.
What?
That's what they're saying is happening.
That is so crazy.
Because they can't have the sun below casting the shadow up like this. Not in heliocentrism. Right. Or the fake flat earth.
Or the AE mappa model. This destroys their reality.
Yeah, so here's... The sun is below these clouds, everybody. Because you can see that this contrail is not above the clouds. This contrail is below the clouds, and the sun is casting a shadow up.
Up.
And there's really a lot of this stuff that we can go through. Now there will be top-down type.
Sure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. From the top down, you can get a shadow being cast down because the sun's above at that time period. But it's the ones where the shadow is being cast up. That this is the
problem.
Science source, right? Clearly, this sun is below the airplane, casting a shadow up. Over and over and over again.
Yeah, there's an abundance of it. There's an abundance of this evidence.
Yeah, go film, everybody. Go film.
Yeah, supernatural things happen when you get the camera out. The animals, the sky, the heavens, everything acts in accordance with creation when you're actively investigating it. That's what we were created to do.
This caption's got it right. This shadow of a contrail being cast onto the clouds above it. Above it. Very clearly.
Can you just do a search on Google? How do the shadows work with the sun? Let's just see what Google says. What does the shadow actually point to? So the shadows can be used for telling the time of the day, telling your latitude and longitude on the map. You know, how is a shadow created? Let's just see the basic Google answer. They're going to say the shadow is created as the spherical Earth spins at 66,666,000 miles around the sun. You know, they always come up with these crazy results. Shadow direction. Oh, can you go ahead and read that?
Is directly related to where the sun is in the sky at any given time. Shadows move in the opposite direction of the sun. For example, if a shadow is in front of an object, the sun will be behind the object.
Right? Does everyone understand what we're saying here? If the shadow is behind an object, you know that the sun is in front of it.
How can you tell where the sun is? By looking at a shadow? Shadows will move in the opposite direction of the sun.
Wow. Okay, it's that simple, everybody. It just when it's true, when something is true, we should be able to teach it to anybody.
Yeah, so let's keep looking at some of these evidences. Every one of these are absolute proof that you are in a virtual reality, everyone. You see a shadow being cast up on the bottom sides of these clouds, and you know that the sun is below these clouds. In your circle of sight, we're talking about the sun being... Where do the clouds usually start? Around 1,500 feet and up? And
yeah, we're not even talking about miles upon miles. We're talking really local. Like, it's a really small world after all, they say, right? Oh, the luminaries, you could touch them almost. But the fact is that they're locked at a set distance away from you, that you can't get to the end of the rainbow or the end of the moon or the sun.
Right. Is the contrail below the cloud? Yes. Is the shadow being cast upward? These are just all over the place, people.
Yep.
In order for... The sun has to be on this side of the contrail to be casting the shadow that direction. Has to be.
Has to be. And that doesn't work on your heliocentric 92 million miles away model, nor does it work on your AEmap 3,000 miles up.
And you can tell just how close it is by the concentration of the shadow. All right, you see how concentrated the shadow is right here? And so this part, how it... you can actually see the depth in the cloud layer there.
Yeah.
This is similar to the one that you had right here, right?
No, much more angled up. We got it right at the sunrise. The contrail shadow was going straight up in the parallel.
Now here is an example of
below.
Yeah, the shadow is being cast onto the tops of these clouds. The contrails above, right?
Obvious.
It's easy for us to be able to... Here's...
Yeah.
The sun has to be right here to be casting that shadow right there.
It's obvious evidence. I feel you've done a good job. We can keep going with the content now. I hope everybody sees exactly what we're showing. It's irrefutable. It's just observable evidences.
All right, so another angle that we take a look at this stuff from is pressure. All right, so like we said earlier, the heliocentric model has pressure against the vacuum of space with no container. And I just want to show everybody, this is a chart where it goes from minus 5,000 feet to 250,000 feet. Now at sea level, the zero line, the pressure is 14.696 pounds per square inch. That's a lot of pressure, actually. That is a lot. Now you can see that this number drops off very quickly. So the altitude that airplanes are flying at, 30,000 feet, 35,000 feet, you're down to 4.3 psi, 3.4 psi. And then, like we were talking about that high altitude footage, we had footage from 80,000 feet. You had to use a lighter than air vehicle to get to this point. Airplanes can't go to 80,000 feet. They top out in the 60 and 70,000 range. And you can see why here, because there's almost no more air for the plane to be floating on top of, right? It has to be riding on top of it. So you get to at 250,000 feet, zero pressure. Now this is the real numbers, and heliocentrism cannot explain this pressure gradient going from 17.5 to 0 in 250,000 feet. The pressurized pizza dome absolutely can't do it, because as soon as you have that container, now all of a sudden you can't have varying pressure within it. You don't.
Yeah, pull up the Carvel model, please.
Mm-hmm.
And you can continue with your statement. Jason, if I look at this tire here, right, how many pressure gauge points are there?
One.
So the entire tire, when you fill it up to a certain pressure, remains constant and equal.
Yeah, 35 psi throughout the whole thing. It doesn't have, the top part of it isn't, 20 psi, and the bottom part of it 40 psi.
Because then you'd need more than one sensor. Okay, so what we're saying is that the pressurized pizza dome falls flat on its face when you actually find out that we have a gradient of a pressure system. And the way that you set that is you go to the, where is it? The Peruvian salt flats are the best place to go. The Salar de Uyuni, right? It's where most of the gauges can be tested because how flat it is and how high it is in altitude.
Yeah, so that pressure, all of our storms, all the wind, all of that is a result of varying pressure. And heliocentrism doesn't explain it, nor does the pressurized pizza dome.
You can go back to your gauges. We'll bring this up again later. I just wanted people to see the amount of pressure gauges that were put into a tire. There's only one, because it stays a constant pressure, disproving the fact that we live in a pressurized pizza dome again.
Mm-hmm. And then, so if you look at the temperature at these different elevations, you can see that it becomes very inhospitable to life.
Yeah, no life. No.
At 20,000 feet.
No, you're done. No deciduous or no green, no plant life, no animals. Nothing could live up there.
Yeah, and then so this range here of the 35,000 to about 70,000 here is almost all the same, around minus 65, minus 69, minus 67. All of a sudden it starts warming back up again.
That's crazy.
Until, 19.4 degrees at 150,000 feet. And then it rockets off into super coldness after that.
And what Jason has on the screen right here is the absolute debunk of anyone's notion that they're going to somewhere that's outer space. We can't create anything that can withstand any of these numbers. Okay, we don't have submarines that go way down under the ocean that withstand the pressure down there. And we don't have flying objects that can go way up here and deal with the pressure up there. It was created in such a way that you can't get out. And it's a continuous container.
And we need to be, all right, so we need to be sea level. We got the 14.7 pounds per square inch. And at 10,000 feet, you're already above the tree lines of almost all trees. There's only a few above 10,000 feet. 8,000 feet is where a lot of the vegetation stops. 10,000 feet, there's pretty much no living thing anymore. And the pressure is at 10.1 pounds per square inch. So humans can operate somewhere between 14.7 pounds per square inch and 10 pounds per square inch, because once you start going higher than that, you know, at 15,000 feet, you're going to need to start having oxygen. Right? They pressurize the cabins of airplanes to at least 8,000 feet, because they say below that, your cognitive function, your brain does not function properly anymore. So we just have this narrow window that we can operate within due to pressure, and it's basically your sea level to 8,000 feet. So that's one of the limitations of how far we can go in this world. The temperature and the amount of air that's available there. Just wanted to point out real quickly, another debunk of the jet fuel thing is that it freezes. The freezing point of jet fuel is minus 40 Celsius, or let me search this again. Yeah, the freezing point is minus 53 degrees of jet A, minus 40 degrees here. And once again, at these altitudes, we're at minus 65.6 degrees. So just wanted to toss that in quick while we had it here. What else do we have? We've got the sunrise and set angles. All right, so in heliocentrism, in my video that I did a little while ago, the heliocentrism and pressurized pizza dome model debunked is using very, very similar graphics to this. So in heliocentrism, they have the tilt of Earth, the polar axis. Most of the diagrams always have it tilted to the right like this. So they show, this is standard heliocentrism here. All right, so here's the northern hemisphere's summer solstice, you know, where the north is tilted towards the sun. I think their graphics get a little better here. Here we go. So you've got the sun tilted. I think I gotta go back a little here.
Are strongest at the equator, directly in the middle, where they hit at a 90-degree angle.
All right, so you've got at the equinoxes, you have the Earth tilted 23.5 degrees. And then this circle right here is, they give it two different names. One, they call it the orbit of the sun, or two, they call it the ecliptic plane. It's the same thing. The orbit or the ecliptic plane is the same measurement, but they have at the equinox the Earth tilted to it sideways. So I just want to show everybody that with the Earth tilted to it sideways, you end up with this problem. Each one of the debunks have facts that are verifiable, testable, and repeatable. Admit that heliocentrism has been thoroughly debunked. But I'm not done yet. While I have this graphic up here, I want to show you one more thing. You see this globe tilted 23.5 degrees to the ecliptic plane at the equinoxes? Let's zoom in on our March equinox node. Can you see that at the equinoxes that an Earth tilt of 23.5 degrees would make it impossible for the sun to rise 90 degrees east and set 270 degrees west everywhere on Earth on the same day? So I'm straightening it out here. You would have to have Earth set like this to have a 90 to 70 sunrise and sunset in the globe Earth model. That is not what they have. They have Earth tilted 23.5 degrees sideways like this at the...
And they did that because it leaves 66.6.
Well, they did that because... Let me go back to the graphic that they have here. So let's jump ahead. because they still have it tilted to the right. So now, right, the equator, the tropics, now all of a sudden those are like level to the ecliptic, level to the orbit now. But this would be, according to heliocentrism, the winter solstice, where the north is tilted away. Over on this side would be the summer solstice, where the north is tilted towards the sun. But for it to go all the way around, then the side views of the equinox, let's go ahead and go here, watch this.
The March 22nd equinox, we once again have all parts of the planet receiving equal amounts of sunlight and darkness.
See, they want you to see this side view like this and not pay attention to the fact that the Earth is tilted 23.5 degrees here. So this, you could not have the 90-270 here. Absolutely not. So it's one of the things that the heliocentric model, the explanations for the summer and winter, all that, it doesn't make any sense, at least not compared to like the virtual reality where
Andrew Marsh,
where this, right, the tilt of the ecliptic right here, but then based on the date of the year, so towards the summer solstice here, this is the largest circle. You have the most amount of daylight. It's 14.53 hours for this location here, because that's the longest path of the sun right here. And then we're going to drag this down to the south. And you're going to see that in the south, this is their shortest day. You have the smallest path above the horizon here. Right, and it's not until the December 21st solstice that you have the largest path. So the length of day is really the determiner of the seasons, everyone. And this is the way it operates in a person's circle of sight anywhere on Earth.
it's never upside down. It never rains upside down. No two observers would pass each other vertically, one the reciprocal of an upside down position. None of it is real. All that is that you can see that you have a circle of sight and a vanishing point.
Winter in the north, we're looking at right now.
It's the sky tilts. That's it.
And
That's all that happens.
summer in the south.
It's really basic, really.
Yep.
That's what we're saying the virtual reality is. This. We can measure it, we can experience it, and that's what we stand by. We got more links, Jason.
Yeah, so the globe explanation, once again on this, winter is determined by because the Earth is tilted, right? it's 3969 or 59 miles in radius, and they say because of the tilt here that because it's tilted towards the sun that it is summer. Right? The distance between the sun and Earth is only changed by hundreds of miles, if that.
It'd be the same temperature on the reciprocal side when it spun around today. The angle. It's just such a stupid model. And they didn't really have all of the understanding when they came up with the fake model. And unfortunately, it's being taken apart now, piece by piece. What else do we have?
We have...
I got content. And we got more music.
Yeah, so we have... We've had people talking about seeing star trails or time-lapse footage at night, be it from an airplane or from
Cargo
a ship or stuff like that. And I just wanted to show people, here's real footage from inside a cockpit. So when a plane is flying, this is the type of movement.
After takeoff checklist.
All right, look at the way it's moving around.
It's moving a lot.
Plane's moving, and then they expect us to believe that footage like this is real. Right, so to have long exposure photography where you can actually see the Milky Way, these have to be long exposure where the aperture stays open for a long time. Any movement is going to create just tons and tons of motion blur. You cannot see just dots of starlight and shooting stars and stuff in long time-lapse photography. This is the type of footage that they show supposedly underneath the ISS with these lit up cities like this. Yeah, this isn't if anybody's ever flown at night, you're not going to see.
It's not all blurry like this. See how it's all fuzzed out and blurry? That's
this is
There's
all
nobody that's ever been on a plane and seen all these skies. What it is somebody took a time-lapse picture from the ground and then they've stitched it in. And then sometimes they get bleed through because of the way they have to mask out the horizon, and then they say, oh, those are dead pixels.
Yeah, this is, he's saying raw footage, no edit.
No edit.
Yeah, all these stars that are below the horizon, you can see the different layers going on here.
Yeah, it's crazy. There it is. Wow.
It's all CGI. Not real. All right, well, should we take a break and then...
Yeah, if anybody thinks that you can film star trails while flying in a plane, just go ahead, get your camera out, okay, on a nice starry night, and take a drive in your car, and hold the camera up and film the stars for me, and send that to us over on the Reality Chat group.
Sounds good. Let's take a quick break.
it my fault? Should I take the fall? All the broken memories we both share, and all the feelings that were never there. Oh, you're different from this point of view.
And we are back.
We are back. And, you know, we do want to let everybody know that we do hope that you can actually look at life from a different point of view, right? I just want to go through a couple things before we screen share here, Jason. What's up this February in the heavens? We're talking about the heavens and the earth and this virtual reality that we're in. What you can find out this year, we're going to go to NASA. They're telling us so. Jupiter joins the crescent moon on Valentine's Day. Venus and Mars are both visible all month. And the famous, whatever they're calling this, quote, fake fuzzy, end quote, makes an appearance if you're a sky watcher in this next February month. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We've got some content. I am ready. If I am projecting or I need to screen share still, I'm going to get that underway here. And then we'll be able to see what I have to say. You know, I'm not down with Punxsutawney Phil. He's a punk. All right. I'm now a Texan, whatever. We're going to be our own state one day. I'm with Luke and Bach.
Country, right?
Luke and Bach Lloyd. And it's summer all the time here. Good vibes in summer all the time here, but not for how much money you're paying NASA a year for this kind of content. Look at the images that come out of NASA.
Ooh, that's dirty.
This is
gross.
the NASA fanboy starter pack. These are pictures coming out of NASA. I don't know how much you're giving them per year, but this is what they're sending out. Okay, here, let's talk about the paper towel Earth that the globular proponents will want you to believe. Like, who is that Tyler Oliveira character who's, punk ambushed the flat Earth community like Austin Whitsitt? Listen, they want you to think that you live on a paper towel roll. Okay, if we're looking at this image here, why is it that the ship starts to sail away and disappear at the vanishing point here, but on the left or right, it always stays vertical like that? Right? That's because of the optics that Jason has explained, and the calculation is the height of the observer squared, that little square
root.
Square root, sorry, thank you. See, I'm fallible. I make mistakes. And then times 1.23. It's very easy to remember, and you'll get the distance to this line. And the distance, if you have the height of the sail, you'll get the distance to here. And then when that gets to here, you won't see it anymore.
And you'll actually notice, everybody, that like in the middle there, as those sailboats, if one sailed to the left and one sailed to the right, but they stayed close to the shore, guess what? They would disappear from the top down the exact same way, side to side. Right? But nobody ever sees curvature side to side. They always think it's going away from them or coming towards them.
And what we're saying is that if we lived on a sphere that there was curvature to, you would see curvature in all directions.
All directions.
People, you would be able to tell that you lived on a ball, okay? You'd see the boats going over. There wouldn't be a debate. Jason and I wouldn't be able to have these channels that we do, okay? Austin Whitsitt does not get it. He's an absolute joke. I wouldn't even waste my time debating him. Listen here, I'm bringing this up for everybody that's tuning in here. Why? We're in 2024. We've supposedly got all these spacecrafts, everything floating in space, all these satellites from Elon Musk. Take a picture, please, of an upside down waterfall here in the southern hemisphere in Argentina, please. Take a picture of a ship that's sailing, around Antarctica upside down. Take a cruise liner over here in Australia or New Zealand and zoom in and show us it. Do people think that we're stupid? Okay. No, we're not. And you can't do this because there's no evidence of it. You can't. There's nowhere in reality where anything is upside down except for your globe Earth logic. It's flat upside down. Jason, do you have anything to say about the slide?
No, but yeah, I mean, that's if it was real, if they had a camera on the moon that can zoom as well as the P1000, you should be able to zoom into the bottom and see the waterfall going up, the ship upside down on the water, all that. That is what
clearly it should be observable.
If it was real.
You concur. But here's the problem. You'll get clown shoes around here. I use a synthetic method to examine whether basketball is really a ball or is it actually flat. Upon taking a closer look with his micro lens on his P900, he needed a P1000, buddy, I can only conclude that the surface of the basketball, while bumpy, does not appear to have any curvature. Therefore, the basketball is flat. You'll see clowns actually go around and share this like they've somehow debunked Earth's supposed flatness. Listen, clown shoes going around spreading this. Show me this picture. Okay, we can see the flat one. We've seen this one a lot. But you're claiming we live on this one. Right? So don't come around here with your backwards logic. Actually show us the sphere. Don't come out and say that because you zoomed in on the sphere close enough that you don't see curvature. No, show us the curvature. Show us this sphere. Right? Or else you look like dumbasses just showing a stupid magic experiment that anyone can do with most surfaces. And the hardest thing for anything to actually do in creation is actually make a perfect circle. Jason?
Yeah, well, yeah. So that's the problem. Computers have a huge tough time with the perfect circle because, well, for one, the numbers are irrational. So any number that is a repeating number, right, all the 0.3s, all the 0.6s, all the 0.9s that repeat over and over and over, all the repeating numbers, the computer has to round them off. It has to cut them off and round them off. Otherwise, it would just forever. For one calculation, it would just run forever and never get to the end of it. So
you couldn't ask it anything else at the same time. It would say, sorry, I'm busy. I'm trying to calculate pi. Right.
Yeah, so for every single circle, you're limited to the resolution that you're looking at it. So the pixels, if you're going to use square pixels or triangular pixels or hexagon pixels or whatever, a perfect circle, if you wanted to have that razor clean line edge, each level that you zoom in, you can add more detail. You can add more detail. So it's really hard to calculate circles with a computer. It's very memory intensive. And if Earth was a circle and everything was leaning away and there was no true plumb line, if there was no flat plane, no true vertical plane, and everything was curved, and every shadow, everything that is being calculated. So if a lot of people say, well, why couldn't we be on a globe in a virtual reality? The mathematics of it, at some point we'll get into ray tracing and what the highest level graphics are doing right now. It's very, very processor intensive, and it can't be done real time. It takes long times to calculate simple scenes.
You're asking it to come out with too many different calculations to locate anything on this sphere. You can't tell me where the center of a basketball is. There's no device that can measure it. Right?
Yeah, center of a pear, center of a watermelon. The exact.
Earthers will try to make you think that they can.
Center of a potato.
Yeah, we live in a virtual reality, right? It's borderless. Well, as far as we know, you need to go and travel. We would like to do a few routes, and we would be able to have a better understanding ourselves. But when we look at water, rivers, right, don't flow uphill in a spherical reality. No, they would need to on a spherical reality, but in a virtual reality, it's set up as the level of the actual realm. water sea level, right? It doesn't conform to the shape of the container. It follows its own properties, right? I mean, take all the time you need, it says. Just look at what we're showing you.
Yeah, the Great Lakes, the different levels that the Great Lakes are at, but each one shown being totally flat all the way across.
Everybody in the chat too, this is your opportunity. You want to talk about flat earth, go ahead, ask any questions, bring up anything that you've been seeing, what you know about the flat earth. Water doesn't conform to it. It always levels out when it rests and finds its equilibrium everywhere in recorded reality here. Let's look at this slide here. Okay, which is the greater distance, AB or CD? Okay, CD, left to right, or A to B, which is forwards. Right? You tell us, it says, where should we see the curvature of the Earth if we lived on a sphere? Should it be at AB or should it be at CD? Jason, you can be the first contestant to give your answer as to where you think we should be able to observe Earth curve.
Yeah, well, it's a radius that we see. So AB and CD are the same. They are the same number. You can see the same distance in all directions. If you're on that little island out in the middle of the ocean, you look around all 360 degrees, you see the same distance in all the directions. It's a radius to you because it's your circle of sight. A and B and C and D are the same.
Directions. The answer is curvature in all directions, not C to D or A to B. It's everywhere. If you lived on a misshapen pear that's a little fatter at the bottom than it is at the top, you would see curvature falling away from you. The moment you rose off this thing, it would just start rolling away from you in all directions. Okay. Here's what we get NASA saying that this is the moon, right? When it looks like this at night. Like, come on. You know, everybody really, we do know that many people don't believe NASA anymore. They, you know, the Cold War, who wanted to be first, you know, when Russia supposedly put up their satellite, you know, the United States didn't debunk it. They set out to land on the moon, and that's what they faked, right? So it's clear that the moon isn't this, right? Jason, do you think many people still believe that they landed on the moon in 1967?
People that haven't looked into it probably still believe it, but look at the distance to the horizon in those moonshots.
How about the clouds behind the moon here? I don't know if anyone's tuning in, but there's clouds behind the moon, which would lead you to believe that you could land on it. But the thing is the moon never gets closer to you. When you try to fly to it, it continues to move away, right? And there was the sun lore too. There was the character that tried to fly over the sun, right? It didn't end up so well for that person. But when you look at this picture, and you see the layout of the land, the city, the way that everything has been created, and the just pure flatness of it. So what you would need is for the curvature in all directions that we said, A, B, and C, D, you should see curvature in all directions, and there should be a lean to things on a sphere. It should be evident everywhere.
Yep.
Can you see any in this picture?
No, the tall things out at the horizon would be tipping away from you.
Here.
In all directions around you.
This city, this part of it would be leaning. This part will be leaning. These two buildings would be leaning away from each other. Right?
Yeah.
Look how flat it is, including like this little lake here, pond. It's perfectly flat. And not only that, but it remains a perfect mirror. Water at rest shows a perfect reflection of the sky, which is impossible on a sphere. It's impossible. Right?
Mm-hmm.
How about this one? You know, how is this guy over the curvature like this and the moon or the sun way over here? Why is it that the light travels around the bend of the curve to him? Like this. This is what we actually witness. And you can go left or you can go right or you can hold the camera out and And when you look at the camera's perspective, that light is going to follow the camera, but you're looking at it from your perspective and that light stays right there. Again, supernatural, the way that the vision of the reality works, the truth of it, the way that the heliocentric Satanists have tried to fool you into believing against. Right? Which one's real?
Yeah, if it was convex, it would be like going to the fun house and looking at yourself in one of those rolly mirrors. It's not convex, it's not concave, it's flat.
Flat everywhere, all around us. Flat, 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 flat. Right? And that's what we observe. That's what we can measure. NASA going nowhere since 1950. Wait, I'd go to the moon, Don Pettit said, in a nanosecond. But the NASA destroyed all that technology. We got Elonald. You could tell it's real because it looks so fake. And because people just eat it up, all they have to do is send out one of these idiots and say something. This guy literally told everybody, it's Photoshop, but it has to be. Right? Jason, you know these characters, right?
I know those guys.
Neil the Clown deGrasse Tyson, who got interviewed by Dick Hummer, Roland Reddy, mocking Mad Mike Hughes as the redneck rocket guy.
Fake flat earther.
Who was catapulted to his death, and NASA was working with them. When asked what is gravity, Neil the joke Freemason Satanist deGrasse said, I don't know. Next question. We must solve these challenges for humans, send humans through this region of space, talking about the supposed Van Allen radiation belts. And when they asked the astronauts, they said, we didn't get affected by it because we didn't know it was there. That's what the astronauts said.
Why they say ignorance is bliss?
Yeah. This one here, we got, I don't recall what stars you could see. They asked these astronauts, they were so sad if you look at the footage when they got back from the moon landing. They couldn't see any stars from outer space. You mean like when we go out into the woods? When you're close to a city, Jay, you don't see as many stars, right?
No, or if you go up in altitude, you get up to 30,000 feet and stars are almost not visible at all anymore.
Well, that's what they're trying to say. They couldn't see any. And you would think that when you're in outer space, which the heliocentric satanic mind worldview is that you're going to go to outer space. That's what Elon tells you. He's going to take you to outer space. There's nothing up there. The boundary of realities before supposed outer space here. Look at this one. We don't have time for a meeting with the Flat Earth Society. We got Obama, stuttering, bumbling fool up there. On cue, stuttering on purpose, just like I was. And we got Scott Kelly, right? And we all know his wife was a part of a shooting hoax where she got shot in the head. And then she stutters too. So sometimes during spacewalks, flecks of paint come off the ISS and look like bubbles. Scott told everybody because people are like, hey man, we know you're filming these in a pool. We see the bubbles. He said, nah, those are flecks of paint. It's like when somebody said they could see Alaska from Russia, and the Globe Earther said, no, you can't. But like, look, I can see it. Here's my P1000. Look, there's Alaska across the Bering Strait. It's like 50 miles. You can see it from a certain altitude and a certain height of an object over. And I don't have any proof of it yet. But the statement is that they would say, you don't see that. That's not Russia, right? It's an illusion. No matter the height of the observer, the horizon it does stay similar to eye level, but due to the fact that your circle of sight enlarges, the angle to that vanishing point does drop a little bit, but nowhere near the way that it demanded if you lived on a tiny sphere. You know, the Earth is really small with the 3959 radius. That's tiny.
Tiny.
Really tiny. If you have a vehicle that could travel 800 miles to go halfway around the Earth doesn't take long. I mean, do the math. Here we get Earth is, yes, hello, I'm sorry, everybody. Go out and sail it. It's 70% water. The Earth is level regardless of anybody's opinion. The temperature outside, if it's 80, it's 80. It doesn't mean that it's hot for me and cold for you. Water is level. Sea level. It's not sea curvel.
And it's not changing It's not
Why don't you? Yeah, go ahead.
the same. You take a picture of a body of water, and the water is at the same level it was 100 years ago, 200 years ago. Water level stays the same. It doesn't change. Yes, we have tides, but everything, the sea level is fixed. That is not changing.
It doesn't change. And we'll go lastly, when you take the screen share back from me, we'll go over curvel and level. So take all the time you need. I'm going to have this graphic up. Excuse me. This is the proof that we get that we supposedly landed on the moon. Here it is. Here's the landers, right? And it's not only the Japanese one, it landed sideways and it destroyed its solar panels. It landed like a wounded bug on its side. It couldn't
Tipped over.
It needed to be flipped back over. Here you go, little buddy. Flip it back over. Well, people believe this. I mean, could you imagine if we actually had a court hearing and we had someone like Sean Hufford and Red's Rhetoric on the stand? We had them we pulled this up and we said, this is the science and the proof that you bring forth to the world that you believe that we landed on the moon. Look at look at this.
Yeah, it would be laughed out of a real court.
What is this, a garbage can? Is this a speaker? It's a speaker. This is a speaker. What's this one? I don't even...
Homeless tweaker shelter, it's been called.
That's what Jake the asshole would call it, right? This one is probably I don't know. This one's pretty bad too. The Chinese one. I mean, Soviet one looks steam powered. That's steampunk. That's kind of cool.
Steam is powerful.
Yeah, I like steampunk stuff. I'm all about steam power. I do like the steam power personally, but that's my own thing. But the American one, listen, they're all faking it together. We've been under a one world government the entire time. It's not a new world order. It's the same world order that's always been here. It's ruled by men who prey upon your ego. They turn nations against each other. They use sex. They use crime. They do disgusting things. And they all promote to you a satanic heliocentric worldview, because your worldview actually shapes your personal foundation of who you are as an eternal being created to live forever. If you believe in this growing from monkeys, Big Bang, heliocentric cosmology, they've already destroyed you. You're just a pawn in their game. Right? And they do disgusting, dirty things like write sex everywhere. They put it in the Lion King. They put it on the image that they give you of the blue marble that they say is the Earth from outer space. It says sex. You can zoom in and see it. Right? NASA and Warner von Braun, they said that they were going to have a hotel on the moon by 1972, 1980. We're going to be able to go there and spend the weekend.
Hasn't happened yet, and it's not going to.
It's just common sense and logic that the people that put out images like this are not going to tell you the truth. Okay? You don't live on a paper towel roll. Okay? You don't. You'll never see a picture of an upside down anything because it doesn't exist in reality. You live in a created virtual reality. Jackass is sharing this thinking they're clever. Show us this picture, right? Or go home, take your basketball and step, because you don't have any proof of anything. Your flat water always follows out. It doesn't matter if it's convex, if it's concave, right? Water levels out, and Earth is 70% water. So, and all around us would be curved if you lived on a sphere. What you get is distance to the horizon, and you can trace it just by doing a circle. It continues. That's obviously the truth of it, Jay. You know, you could take the screen share back. I just hope people follow their logic and their reason, and they understand that the shadows, right? The chemtrail shadows show you exactly where the sun is. And screen share with me if we'll pull up the curvel and the level. This is, the last kind of drive home tonight's presentation with everybody, just the stupid ridiculousness of the heliocentrists. Okay, look at this. Okay, you got on the left, sea level, right? Sea level in a virtual reality. Okay, sea's level. It's its boundary. It was created bound to be level. when it rests. And then on the right, we have the heliocentric pizza pie model map believers that one thinks they live in a pressurized tire, the fake flat earthers, right, with a dome. That's just nonsense. But the funnier part of it is that people believe that is how you can measure curve and still be level.
Anywhere around this, you just put the level anywhere, and it's still level, right?
No, it would be called curvile, not level.
Perpendicularism.
So we just want everybody to understand that, sure, if we go back to the Andrew Marsh program and we go south, or did you want to comment on curvile and level?
No, that's good. I mean, just keep in mind, if we were in a pressurized dome, people, there would be no wind currents. There could be no change in pressure. And every day that we have a storm, that's a change in pressure. If we have wind, that's because different pressures. So obviously we have different pressures here on Earth, and that's proof that we're not inside a container. Right?
Well said.
But the heliocentrism isn't going to work either, because you can't have pressure against a vacuum.
Yeah, it's just as ridiculous. Again, leaving virtual reality as your only way. Again, so if we go to the beyond the 68th degree, sure, the globe earthers can say that, this proves that you live on a globe, right? Because the sun never sets here. We've seen some pretty good evidence that it takes place. I'd like to see it myself, and I'm sure Jason would too. If this wasn't such a satanic world, we'd be able to really easily. Tomorrow we got the evidence. But the problem is that you're never upside down in reality, and everything is measured off of a flat level plane with a circle of sight. So unfortunately, the globe model, which tries to represent reality, Jason, why again do you think that people were able to use the globe as a representation? Why would the creator? And when we ask these why questions, we all need to know that we'll never get the full answer until we ask the creator himself exactly why. But Jason, what do you think the reason why we can get some similarities to the sphere?
Well, so if Earth was perfectly gridded out, you would know that you're on a flat plane. And if you knew that you were on a flat plane, then you would know that you have a creator for sure. So the whole purpose of the heliocentric, the geocentric models was to come up with an explanation for not having a creator. So they came up with everything as balls, were spinning balls that came from nothing in a big explosion. Everything from nothing in a big explosion to not have a creator. It's the Vatican that came up with that. They're not Christian at all. They're absolute Satanists. So the creator knew that by having two poles, a stereographic world like this, that the Satanists would try to depict it as space, as balls flying around through space. And they did it true to form. And now people have the option of being a truth seeker and admitting, all right, if we're on a flat plane, that we do have a creator. And a lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people want to stick with the heliocentrism so that they can think that they don't have a creator. Atheists.
Well, then you have the atheistic heliocentric flat Earth, which you have Dirty David Weiss with Deep Inside David's Rabbit Holes, and he tries to bury you in rabbit holes, and he tries to tell you that it's an infinite plane with an infinite amount of suns and ponds. Outer space is real, he says, everybody. You just have to go further beyond the ice wall. And now all of a sudden you don't have a crater anymore. You live in an infinite flat Earth pond reality. So it's really important that people really start to understand their worldview and how local it is.
Yep, shadows, everybody. Put a stick in the ground and watch the path of the shadow around it, and you'll see that this model is accurate. The heliocentric model doesn't work, and the Freemason New World Order pressurized pizza dome is even worse than the globe.
Yeah.
Hard to believe it, but it's even worse.
Because it's a stretched, distorted, squished globe. That's what it is. That's why it's worse. The globe model better represents reality. And, lastly, Jason, I want to say this, okay? It wasn't created for a satanic purpose to be misrepresented in any way. The whole entire reality was set up in such a way where it was our freedom of choice. It was our heart condition that makes the decisions. If we obviously could go through the last 6,000 years knowing exactly where we were, well, we really have, if you followed the book of Enoch and the path of the inspired scriptures. But if it was so obvious which way it was, it wouldn't have made the option of the filter possible. You can't have an algorithm set to create a righteous realm without having possibilities. If we lived in an AE map with the sun circling up in the sky, we would all know that, hey, there goes all the sun and the moon and everything circling around, just like every single one of us have seen a sunrise and a sunset. Everyone that can see has witnessed that, right? It's just simple logic. And the creator didn't do it to be a Doolittle, right? Because in the end of it, people are going to be just blown away at how much the creator did and his son, right? And their team at building this, at creating a righteous realm that was fair. It doesn't seem fair right now, does it, Jay?
No, it's not fair right now.
It hasn't seemed fair for a very long time. But what is fair is the fact that we're able to follow and find the truth and share it with one another, and we're able to be glad. And we're able to go to sleep at night knowing that we live in a supernatural created reality and that we're special and that he cares about us, and the creator left us clues, and all we had to do was do the search and find it ourselves. And the evidence is abundant. It's everywhere.
Absolutely. Go film it, everybody. Every one of these hundredth of a degree per second. That's how come it's not? All right, here we go. So you can, with an azimuth and an altitude, all right, two measurements, you can plot any space, every single pixel around you, 360 degrees. Everything that's above the ground right here can have a coordinate given with two measurements, an azimuth and an altitude. That's because everything is rotating around you, the observer, from a center point right here.
Yes, someone had mentioned in the chat, nothing above us and nothing below us. Either the earth hangeth upon nothing. It's founded upon waters, right? Waters above and waters below. But Jason's pointing out this is where we can go out and measure. Where are the filmers? Where are the people that are observing it? What did I say earlier? Let me pull that up again really quick. What were we told this month? You can film all night Venus and Mars. Okay, you can get out there and film it. And Jupiter joins the crescent moon. That's going to be beautiful.
So Venus at night is a heliocentric debunk. Right, because it's supposed to be a planet that's closer to the sun than Earth, which would put it on an inside path so that you wouldn't see it at night. Right? You would only see what's in an outside path of Earth in heliocentrism.
Absolutely. I'm excited. I hope people out there are excited and you want to get out there and film and see the shadows from the chem clouds. And the clouds behind the sun and the moon and rainbows and all this stuff. The spring is about to come. We're just rounding the festival of the trees. We're about to be celebrating and getting ready for the eclipse that's coming up. We'll see. We don't know for sure. I know for sure there'll be a rise and grind on Sunday at 9 p.m. Central. That'll be 10 p.m. Eastern. Do it a little bit later this Sunday. We don't know for sure if we'll be live Sunday night for more of a scriptural based podcast. We'll see, but we will be back for sure with more Christian based content coming up. I'm looking forward to Sunday, sharing some brand new amazing music on Sunday. We got lots of great new music coming out and some truth, and we'll follow what's going on with the news and all the different findings that we can't really say here on YouTube, but over on Rumble, where we do the Rise and Grind and Jason's Rumble channel, we can say anything we want. Like I guess the United States has started, something's going on in the Middle East. We can't even really talk about it or they'll take this down. But we we might be back with an update on that too, that it's not real what they're pretending to do.
I just want to point out we do have a shill in the chat. He says our friend Jay Tolan. No, Jay Tolan is a New World Order Freemason fake flat earther that makes up fake footage, fake distances. We've got a shill in the chat, everybody. So just be warned that anything above 125 miles is fake footage. If somebody's claiming that they're seeing something farther, it better be bigger than Mount Everest. And since that's the largest mountain here on Earth, chances are you're not going to be able to beat that record, right?
Yeah, because we explained already that for anything to have the largest circle of sight, it has to be the highest in altitude. Right? So, but from an 80,000 feet, you should be able to see Mount Everest from the furthest away. We haven't had that footage yet, so they're still out there. I'm really just looking forward to seeing what's coming up. I know we've got the incredible prophetic stuff that's going to be taking place this next year. Everybody keep your everybody paying attention. Keep on, praying in the morning, asking for forgiveness, doing our best to become better people. Keep watching the skies. Keep trying to investigate your reality. Go ahead and ask the creator. His name's Yahweh. His son's Yahweh Shai, right? Go ahead, ask them. Ask them to show you the truth. There's so many things to be discovered that Jason and I, we're not trying to do everything. You can go out and film. You can write again. I'll put the link to Reality Check chat. There's a group over here where a bunch of people are just trying to find truth together. I would like to see more people join, and I see great stuff, Jay, going over there. We'll just end it on Reality Check. What are your feelings? I know you've been a little bit more active on Telegram.
Yeah, I think if anybody wants to be serious in the truth research, you really should be in that Reality Check chat, because that's where the real stuff is happening. And a lot of that content is now going to be spilling over to here. The questions that come up there, when we have a response to it, an answer, we'll do it here, and then we'll keep, linking back these answers to things in the chat there. It's a way to keep up with us in case we do get a community guideline strike or something somewhere. That's where we post where we're going to be going live. And get involved. We've got the Great American Eclipse coming up. This is the final phenomenal eclipse, because you're not supposed to have them in the same place in a 300-year time span, and we've got these two within 7 years, making this incredible crossing pattern on the United States. So everybody, where's your eclipse t-shirt going to be from? Where are you going to go see it yourself and experience? It's a virtual reality proof, so why don't you go check it out?
Yeah, if you put a sheet on the ground, you'll be able to cast shadows that show limitless amounts of the eclipse being shadowed down under the ground in a mosaic looking pattern. It's something incredible. And we also have two rare, I think 250-year phenomenon with two broods of cicadas that will be coming out of the ground and, coming out of their shell to make this incredible vibrational sound. Okay. I don't know if people completely understand exactly what's going on there, but stay tuned. We've got this crazy double brood cicada phenomena compiled with the Great American Eclipse that's kicking off the year 2024. So we've got a lot planned coming up in this spring, and we're working hard, and we're headed towards that direction. We're constantly thinking of new ways to share information. We want to keep things as simple as possible. If you didn't understand anything, leave a comment below. We're always here to talk. As much as we can, we want to be interacting with you on the other side of the screen. And we want to see you doing your own. That's why Reality Check is such a great place. I'm so thankful. Jason and I are busy always trying to create content. But when we see people in there that are correctly fighting for truth, there's not much that makes us happier. There's not a more comforting thing to see than someone like a Jay Skills in there sharing up the truth, just going to town, or a Seth, or a all of these characters, YD doing her thing, and all of you out there that are fighting for truth. We've got the Gloria channel who calls out the wolves in sheep's clothing, which we do too. These are the types of actions that we want to see everybody on the other side of the screen get involved. Make a TikTok channel. Start fighting for the truth, like YD, or on here on YouTube. What's stopping you from going out like a David? What's his name? The new channel, Pack. He came out, filmed amazing stuff. Where's everyone else with your camera?
Let's see it. Let's see it. All right, brother. Well, it's been great. Where's the only place people are going to get this content?
Only on the Yahushai News Networks.
Whenever you get lost, I will be there for you. I'll pick you up when you are down, down. I will hold on tight and I will make it right. Forever I will be right by your side. Oh, I'll never let you down. All my life I will be there for you. Ooh, I'll always be around when you need someone to carry you. If you're looking for someone to hold, I'll be there to pull you close. Oh, I'll never let you down. All my life I will be there for you. Yeah. Ooh, I'll never let you down. All my life I will be there for you. Ooh, I'll always be around when you need someone to carry you. If you are in the dark, I'll shine a light for you. Show you the way when you get lost, lost. I will hold on tight and I will make it right. Forever I will be right by your side. Oh, I'll never let you down. All my life I will be there for you. Ooh, I'll always be around when you need someone to carry you. If you're looking for someone to hold, I'll be there to pull you close. Oh, I'll never let you down. All my life I will be there for you. Yeah. Ooh, I'll never let you down. All my life I will be there for you. Ooh, I'll always be around when you need someone to carry you. Whenever you need my love, need my love. 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 Ooh, I'll never let you down. All my life I will be there for you. Ooh, I'll always be around when you need someone to carry you. If you're looking for someone to hold, I'll be there to pull you close. Ooh, I'll never let you down. All my life I will be there for you. Ooh, I'll never let you down. All my life I will be there for you.